Hello. It is.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Mindset Monday. Here we are. Very exciting. Oh, shoot, I did it again. I did it again. Something went wrong.
We're gonna do it.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
Isn't it happening? I think it's happening right now.
Don't know.
Something went wrong.
It's okay.
Okay, fine. Huh. All right. I am.
I can't see if we're live yet.
Screen sharing has stopped at the shared screen window. Okay. Are we live? I'm looking
So
for Estelle to
we're
tell
just
me whether
talking
we're
before
live.
you came on. So before we get into this, I'll just do this one. Shelly's setting up.
Custom
So
Blind Service is streaming. We are. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Mindset Monday. I'm doing this all by myself, so I'm a little bit rusty.
nervous.
And I'm nervous. Yeah, even I were just talking about, the nervousness of it all, right? And
Why are we nervous?
well, it's kind of like you said, we're nervous because we're doing it for the first time, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm absolutely
I think we should seek things that make us a little nervous, excited, and a little nervous.
yeah.
If we're not nervous, it's because we're used to it. We're comfortable in it.
Yeah,
So you'll do things like you were giving an example of cooking. Cooking something new in your recipe doesn't make you nervous. It's because you're used to it.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay, so here we are.
that's a QR code.
Here we are. Here is the QR code. So wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm Shelley Butler,
I'm Eve Doucette.
and this is Mindset Monday. And
Welcome.
welcome to our little talk.
Hmm.
We're going to talk about meetings today. This is Show Up. This is our latest product, our new product. We are so excited about this product. This product is about communication. This product is collaborative. This product is about sharing deeply, sharing anonymously. And we want you to be part of it. If you'll notice down here in the corner, there's all kinds of really cool emojis that you
Hmm.
can share. So if there's something that resonates with you, please do. You can certainly use the scanner. Um, or sorry, scan the code here, or
Yeah, take a picture of the code and it'll bring you to the link, or use the link.
yeah, I'll actually put the link in the chat for you.
There you go.
Boom. Or you can use that link. Yeah. So if you're on your phone, just take a, go onto your camera, use that QR code or take the link. We're going to get right into it this morning. We want to get you in and out of here with an amazing conversation about meetings because remote working and meetings, I know it's been a topic here at Dovaco. And we've been talking about it a lot and trying to get people to understand that if the meeting isn't relative to you, isn't relevant to you, it's okay to say no. I just seen a little bit of a fire go off here. I
Oh,
love
a little
a
heart.
little heart. I just love our little emojis at the bottom, right? When people are talking, people can say to you, hey,
Hmm.
I like what you're saying. What you're saying is on fire. I'm happy today. Yeah, it gives lots of energy. So please use them. So we are moving on. I hope that you're here with us today. And yeah, so I see there's 9 of us here so far. So let's get right into it. Uh, let's get into it. Meetings, are they the lifeblood of teamwork or just glorified time wasters?
That's a good question.
It is, and anonymously, you can put in your information, your
Opinions, your
comments.
thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking for some of your thoughts. Some say meetings foster collaboration and alignment, while others argue they kill productivity and could be replaced by an email. So we've heard this a lot. As a matter of fact, there's been some people, this could have been an email. And that's kind of the big theme right now. You'll see it on TikTok, you'll see it on your socials, and people are kind of like, hey, this could have been an email. Did we really all have to get together?
Yeah, so there's a sometimes I think it's also very subject to the person. Some people prefer emails to get clarification, to look at the nuances, but sometimes we have too many emails. Like it's just like to serve the person who wants to have control.
Yeah,
And what I get to is like if you're used to doing something, you've done it 1,000 times, you don't need a lot of meetings, right? You just know what to do. If this
absolutely.
is if this is your nth time doing this, you don't need to meet with this, right? So
No.
we've been meeting on this, like this, setting that show up in this meeting for like a couple of weeks now. We meet on this with the team and we get it set up and pushing the button by yourself, getting
Yeah.
not getting getting independent of Estelle and Angela, so we can do it ourselves, get making ourselves and themselves more productive.
Yeah.
So we had to meet to set it up. But now that it's going, we don't need to meet as much,
We
right?
do not need to meet as
Yeah.
much.
So I think it's interesting that when we get to know what we're doing, we don't need to meet as much. Like an example of that is uh, I sometimes I'm asked to do presentations, and Jen and I, like my sister that
Yeah.
works here, she's in charge of marketing, and at first we were kind of figuring out how to do marketing, with show up, how to do that in a presentation, and then when she got it, like she got the idea. Now she doesn't call me anymore. And I would say I'm a little sad about that, but basically we save time. We don't have to meet about it because she understands what she has to do. And she was telling me this on Friday. We have one coming up for more. I think it's women's, not
International Women's Day.
International
Yes, we're
Women's
going
Day
to be
on
using
Wednesday.
Show Up at International
Yeah,
Women's Day just to kind of tie things all up and get people to see how they can share here anonymously and share in their feelings, let
yes.
go of their
And
feelings.
she'll be using Show Up. And she
She
was
will.
explaining to me what she was doing from a marketing perspective. And I thought, okay, this is good. You understand it. And she's going on the edge. She is trailblazing because now she's comfortable.
Yeah.
So sometimes we need a meeting because we've never done it before. I need to understand. And that's important for both parties to acknowledge that it takes a bit of time for people to get used to it. But after a while, which I love what Estelle has done with us. She says, okay, after a while, you should be able to do it yourself. Right?
I
She says, you kids,
absolutely.
you two kids there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
You don't need a
you
producer
don't
anymore.
need
You're
right, you
good to
don't
go.
need me
Yeah,
anymore. And I love that.
I
And
do.
and at the beginning when
Not
she
at
told us
first.
that, we say, oh,
Uh,
can we do it ourselves? We were a bit nervous, right?
Very
Yeah. So
nervous.
we need
Yeah.
a couple more meetings
Yeah.
in order to clarify it. But then now we're okay.
And I am like I like meetings. So I don't often get to work with Estelle, for
Mhm.
instance, but on Monday mornings I got to see Estelle.
Right.
So I was a little bit selfish, I think with her time.
Well, that's interesting too. Like when you see that is like when you're calling a meeting, is it selfishness? That's important.
Well, it can
Is this
be.
just me trying to control everybody?
Yeah.
Or do I like if I book like I have an event coming up on the 22nd, I
Yes.
don't have like my son's going to do Black Rabbit. It's St. George Catering that's doing that. It's Black Rabbit St. George Catering or
Hmm.
not? It's George Street Catering. That's his name of his catering company. So I don't have to have 15 meetings. I just tell them what I want. I want healthy food. I want no sugar, no carbs,
Yeah.
more
Light, light,
protein,
light.
light.
Yeah.
And I know he's going to deliver. I don't have to worry. There's no meetings,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like I just asked him how many people, no problem,
Yeah. Here's the budget.
right?
Do that.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so we have to be conscious of our own ego.
Oh, we do. And we're actually going to get into that a little
Okay.
bit later. So, just kind of reading through some of these comments, right? Like I said, this could have been an email. We've heard this before. Some things need to be discussed when working as a team. I agree. I think we should rethink. I think they can be good, but without an agenda or direction, they can really get off the rails, and 2.5 hours will never get back. And that is absolutely
So
correct.
true.
You see these hearts here?
You can heart it.
And
Yeah.
yeah, you can actually heart these. And, so what's interesting is you're in a meeting and people are collaborating, people are sharing anonymously. You can find out the direction of the team or what the team might want to know more about. And absolutely, 2.5 hours in a meeting, unless there is something major going on, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I think people after 45 minutes is probably plenty. Let's do a group Slack chat on that. Yeah, a quick huddle with the right people will move things along quicker than a big team meeting. Depends on the task at hand. Agree with that wholeheartedly. I like in-person meetings are better. Me too, but we're in the remote workspace in this day and age. Do we love it when we get together? We're doing this thing with the University of Moncton, helping their kinesiology group, and we have been a big group here on Wednesdays, and man, oh man, does it feel good. I feel like it has to do with the type of meeting. An update meeting runs smoothly and without judgment, or a 2 hour squirrel is incredibly useful. Or a 2 hour squirrel is incredibly useful.
Yeah, that
Huh.
I think it's the other way around.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah, so I do
It's
too. I
not
think
you.
it's
I
yeah.
think they're missing a little bit.
Edit.
Yeah.
Edit. Video meetings are easy to zone out on, especially if they are too long. 100% agree. Absolutely agree. We talked about last week. We talked about meeting camera on and camera off last week, right? And my belief was, well, if your camera's off, you're probably doing something else. But that was probably because if my camera's off, I am doing something else. So I took my beliefs and I put it kind of a stereotype on everybody else. And in actuality, I learned a lot in last week's meeting about videos on or off. It has nothing to do with my thoughts. I am guilty that zoning out on a video. I am guilty of that zoning out on a video meeting. Me too. The right people, no filler or FOMO people. Um, the right people, no filler or FOMO people. Yeah, absolutely. We tend to get into FOMO.
Yeah,
I'm
so I
going
think
to the meeting. I don't want to go to the meeting. I have so much stuff to
mm,
do, but I'm going to go anyways
because
because I
I'm
have a
afraid.
fear of missing out.
And on so that's an ego thing that you can check yourself. Like,
Yeah.
do I need to be
Yeah.
there? Am I bringing something to be there? Or am I just going because I'm afraid
Yeah.
to miss
People
out?
resonate with that.
Or or yeah, there's nine people. No, one, sorry. So or is it something that I'm going there to impress someone? Right?
Yeah.
And no filler is I had a meeting yesterday and they were talking about snow removal. And I'm thinking, why are we talking about snow removal? It's like we're in March. There's no more snow,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So
Filler.
for 10 minutes, that's filler.
Yeah.
Like it's a waste of time, right?
Yeah.
And
And it's hard to call squirrel. It's hard to kind of go, hey, it's March. Like, I don't think this is necessary, right? Because we're trying to be kind and we don't want to hurt people's feelings. We've been told before that if we call people out in a meeting, that they get butthurt, right? So we got to be really careful
yeah,
or
and
not.
so sometimes it goes well, it's if it goes to like I the way I did it yesterday, I thought, well, I'm going to let it go for a while, see what happens. And so I didn't speak and nobody spoke either. So the squirrel went away.
Ah,
So giving no attention to a squirrel or the fillers, after a while, the person may or may not know, but the job of the organizer, I believe, is to call squirrel to say,
I,
okay, that's not on
I
topic.
yeah,
That's not important for what we're doing,
I
right?
agree.
What if the person who's calling the meeting is a squirrel, right?
Yeah,
So, so then then there's a variety of things you do. You can call squirrels. Say,
yeah.
is this important? Maybe you're not getting it. Maybe you're not getting it why it's important, and you can ask a question. Is it relevant to what we're trying to do? So again, like
Fair.
trying to be in this present moment when you're in the meeting will get the meeting faster. Being honest with your feelings without going into the feelings is important for all participants. I agree, I think.
I think so too. Fear of judgment when missing a meeting can be an issue. That is
Mm,
something that's self-serving, though. You have to really get over self when it comes to this
that's
judgment thing.
that's FOMO.
People will
Mm,
happen.
mm.
People will judge you. It's just going to be the rest of your life. Unfortunately, it's not cool, but it's something that you can actually think about over and over again, or it's something that you can go, oh, judge me or not judge me. I can't.
It makes me think about when I way back when I had done a huge sale. It was like something like 76 million bucks. It was the biggest sale I've ever done. And
Mm,
so I had done that, and then a couple of months later, maybe 4 or 5 months later, I get my evaluation, and in my evaluation, it said team like on 1 0 to 4 team player, and I scored like a 1 or something like that.
oh,
And I thought, geez, that's bad. So what I did is I started to be more of a team player. But what happened over the years after that, it was I was so focused on being a better writer, being better at oral speaking, being a better team player, that I lost the one thing that really was bringing value, which is sales.
yeah.
So, so sometimes when you're focused on judgment, you're not focused on your skill set. what you bring to the table,
You're focused on trying to please others
right?
at that point.
So
Yeah,
we
that's
have
a
a
shame.
job when you break when you the long and the short of any job is you have a job to do. You have to bring value to the
Yeah.
company. So if you're spending time at a meeting because you're afraid of judgment, you're not being very productive,
That's
right?
it. That's it. It's super, super important that you understand that uh if you're feeling it, go to the meeting. If you're not feeling it, don't go to the meeting. You can always catch up later. The one thing I know after all these years, I'm 57 years old, I've been to thousands of meetings. I've always been able to catch up later. Having an agenda really helps. Even if you don't have an agenda, if you have an intention for this meeting, if you just simply put out the intention of this meeting, we need to fix this bug, we need to fix this messaging, we need to, right? And you stay on that task, 15, 20 minutes, you're in and out. Uh, uh, what do you do if you call squirrel, but the person defends themselves saying, no, it's relevant? Well, I think you have to let them speak their mind. See, the thing is you being the person that calls squirrel doesn't mean that you're right.
Yeah. So yes. So sometimes you have to you ask them, is this relevant for the meeting? Without, again, it's always without emotions. Is I'm just wondering if it's relevant to this meeting, and if yes, let them speak out, and it'll run its own course, right?
It absolutely will. If that person is being called out as a squirrel,
Mhm.
if they are squirreling, they'll shut up.
Or well,
9 times out of 10, they will.
I wouldn't say that. I think
I
mostly they will continue, and it's okay. You've brought to their attention their awareness that they could be a squirrel. Keep in mind that it takes time to change a behavior. So
It does.
I would say keep at it the next meeting, keep asking the question, is this relevant? And if they can, they will learn to to monitor themselves. It is not your job to do that. It's not your job to train someone.
It isn't.
It's just your job to say, hey, is this relevant?
I think it's a poke. Like, if a dog
Yeah.
is
Hey,
trying to go
are you
get
here?
it's
That's
just
it.
it's just a poke,
That's a
right?
poke.
So
Yeah.
if
Are you
if I'm
like,
walking a dog and the dog is focused on something that I don't want the dog to be focused on, I'm going to hit the dog. And the dog will stop that focus kind of
yeah,
thing. You'll have a moment. And
like
I think that's all you're really doing. But please know when you call squirrel, you may not be right.
yeah, so you're calling squirrel to bring, so what you're trying to do as a leader, even if you're not leading, is bring attention to the present moment. So when you're talking to me about how to train a dog because you had Katie's
I
dog,
had
like,
Katie's dog.
so
Yeah.
she was Shelly was telling me what she was doing with the dog. The dog barks a bit, and she was like touching the neck, like that's what you're
Yeah, it's a
expecting.
Caesar Milan move. So it's
Yeah,
it's a bit of a touch on the neck.
and
And yeah,
yeah,
you can actually do that with yourself as well. Like if you feel like a cry coming on, you
just
feel anger coming on, if you actually put those two fingers on your neck, on your
mhm,
carotid artery
yeah,
and push hard. No, you don't have to push
it's
hard.
gonna bring you here.
But bottom line, it
Yeah,
it, it will bring you here. Yeah.
we learned that with Baron Baptiste. You remember?
I learned it with
Yeah.
Baron Baptiste because we were sharing really heavily with Baron Baptiste. He is amazing leader, and he does a lot of leading coaching courses. And we were in an inquiry session, and there was a lot of sadness,
Yes.
a lot
So
of deep
so we
conversation.
noticed that he
We
was
could
doing.
see, we
Yeah.
could see that if ever he like teared up a little bit, he would
Mm,
immediately. Because the thing is, what we learned in his course is if you cry
mm,
in the space of others telling you their deep story, well then that person now has to comfort you. You're
right.
right. So it's a weird thing. It's something that is off topic. So we're going to go back to this, but
Well, it's on topic because the job when you're in a meeting, if it's a squirrel, like notice that you are hesitant to say, "Hey,
yeah.
is this relevant?" So notice that your brain is going, "Well, this is a waste of my time. This is a waste of my time. What is he talking about? What's she talking about?"
Yeah.
Like, and B, have the courage to say, "You know what? Maybe I'm going to be a little nervous and a little uncomfortable," and ask the question without emotion: "Is this relevant to the conversation?" And be okay that it could be.
Yeah.
Right? Be okay that it's not. All you're doing is you're bringing the attention to the person who's speaking. Is it relevant? And it's okay.
And that's why I think it works.
Yeah.
I because the thing is you've got the person to think for a minute, to stop
Yes.
and think for a minute. And I believe, unlike Eve, that 9 times out of 10, that person will quiet down.
Well,
Um,
let's test that out and let's see.
let's see.
Let's bet. Want to
I
run a bet?
a buck,
A
a loony. Ooh,
loony.
a loony.
Ooh,
We say loony here.
loony.
Um, It's frustrating. I love this. It's frustrating when I say something in a meeting and it gets interpreted the wrong way. Oh, and this is an amazing thing
Yes.
that you can do with this product.
Mm.
So not only are you saying something anonymously here, but others are also commenting on your input, if you
Yes.
will.
Yeah.
And if it's being interpreted the wrong way with this tool, you will see. So, having that essential language, learning how to speak properly so you can identify truly what's going on is so, so important. So, I seen that there was a learning and using essential language can help meetings with less wasteful time, right?
I think it's the same thing again. The
Mm-hmm.
person interpreting your message, the reason they're not listening to what you're saying is they're not here. So
Yeah.
your job as a person saying, "Hey, this is what I mean," is to bring people here. And just like notice yourself saying, "Okay, they're not getting what I'm trying to say."
Yeah.
It's because they see with their minds. You hear with your mind, you don't hear with your ears.
Uh,
So a lot of
agreed.
times you have to bring people here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, before creating a meeting, ask yourself, do we really need the meeting?
true.
Right?
Mhm.
Or do I just need to talk to a person? There is responsibility of the organizer to identify who is required to be there.
So we're just going to highlight the comment so we know which one we're talking about.
Sorry, good idea.
Yeah,
Good
sorry.
idea. Yeah, so you can highlight the
Yeah,
comment. You can actually go into a deep dive. We're not going to do that today, but we're moving on.
we're moving on.
We're moving on. No meeting. Should companies implement a no meeting policy 1 day per week? So this was something that happened in one of our meetings. Like
Yeah.
maybe Shelley, you should implement a no meeting policy 1 day per week. Tell all the people that work here that you're not allowed to have a meeting on Fridays.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
interesting.
said,
What'd you say? I don't remember.
no.
Yeah.
I said absolutely not.
Oh, love it.
What I
Okay.
what I love it. And you can wait for somebody to implement a policy for you,
Right.
or
Keep in mind, it's your life, right? It's your life.
or you can implement that policy for you. I remember Gerard. Gerard's our CTO, CIO here. He's amazing. And he said when he was actually deep into the work, he actually said in one of our team meetings, "Hey guys, I'm only going to meet on these days. The other days, don't even ask me for a meeting. I am not going to be there."
Right.
And I was yes, implement that policy for yourself. I don't take meetings on Fridays. I'm done. My 4 day work week, whew, I'm done. I will definitely have conversations with people on Fridays, but I am not going to
So
have
you made
a
that choice
meeting.
yourself, but
I made a choice
you're the
myself.
boss, though. It's easy for you to say no meeting. Or were you like that when you were not the
I
boss?
was like that when I was not the boss. And
I know you. You're like that.
I'm like that. And I want people to be like that. I want
Like
people
you don't
who
answer your phone after a certain time either.
I do not.
Like so, remember we had like that's the same thing as answering the phone at night. Like you don't have to, but it frustrates people when the boss will text you or the boss will call you or whatever, and you have a right to say no, right? And then say
You do.
and keep in mind that say yeah, you will talk about that tomorrow, or yeah, text me
Yeah,
and I'm okay to listen to you. I'll talk about that tomorrow. Right?
absolutely.
I'm busy today.
Absolutely.
I'm resting today.
The one thing I found if I had those meetings on Fridays, I just didn't have it. I did not have the ability to make a good decision. I did not have the ability to make the
Yeah.
conversation. I was tired. I put in the hours. I was over it, if you will.
One of the things I love about the Aura Ring is it gives me a stress level. So when I'm like in this particular, like every Monday morning, I look at my stress level when I'm new. It's like calm, 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 calm.
I actually get time back. I get the
Oh yeah,
yeah, so
you
it's
like you get younger,
restored. Yeah, so you can have either stressful time or you can have restored time.
right?
Restored time actually gives you
It's
back years, right?
that's what I
That's
want.
what we get
We
here.
want that.
Yeah.
So some meetings you may get so you can use tools to see if it's stressful,
Yep.
right? And you can say, hey, you know what? This is stressing me out. Like for whatever reason, you can dive into and work on that self acknowledgement, the self way of say, no, on Fridays I can't. I got to do work. Like I think it's a self responsibility.
Be the
Yeah,
leader of your
be a
life
leader.
in
Yeah.
whatever you're doing. I don't care if it's a meeting, if it's when you got to go grocery shopping, if it's, whatever you're making a decision on, be the leader of your life. Don't wait for somebody to put a policy in place because I tell you, that policy will never serve you. So, what do we got? Depends on if you're willing to not have any progress that day if things are waiting on a meeting.
Could be.
Possibly, yeah. I decided that on Fridays, I'm not sure if it's about me not having progress. I just think I just do other things. What if something urgent comes up and can't wait? Do we just sit on our hands and let productivity stall because it's a no meeting day? Absolutely not.
So let's just dive into
Yeah,
this. I
let's
had
dive
this
into that.
question. I had this question when I was doing a presentation for one of our local companies here a few years back, and so I was the boss was saying, "There's what if something happens? I have to go there." I said, "Well, you're the boss. You have to make the decision of whether or not it's urgent or not. If it's not urgent, don't send a text or don't interrupt the person because you're interrupting the flow of work. Send an email or write like make it a note so they'll get it in the next morning." So what happens, like my wife used to work at the hospital and they have what they call stat. So stat means it's urgent.
Hmm.
By the end of like her shift when she's finished, everything was stat. Everything was urgent.
Mm.
And that's what happens with life. We say everything is urgent. My priority is urgent. So the employee or the recipient is left with managing the urgencies, right? So this is what happens is like, is it really urgent? Does it really matter? And you again, it's going back to the same conversation we just had. You have to be responsible for your health, your stress. If you're super stressed, if you're tired, you're like nothing is going to be more urgent than your health. I'll tell you, there's 1,000 problems you'll have, and there's only one when you have a problem with. Like if you are ill, you'll have one problem.
Everything
So
else goes
it
away.
goes away.
Yeah,
So I think managing
I'm here to tell you.
urgencies, right? And like I fastly learned that there's some people it's
Yeah,
always urgent, always urgent. So what I would do is say, no, tell me what it is, no problem. I give them a delivery date that'll be done next Thursday. If they don't like it, say, well, that's the schedule, right?
yeah.
That's the schedule. I'm full until there. Like, and most of the time they accept it, right? So,
Agreed.
right,
Agreed. Well, it's urgent for them, right? Remember,
yeah, yes,
your thoughts are your truth. Your
yeah.
thoughts are facts until they're not. I think instead of I will implement a hard cutoff for meetings. A time constraint will be a tool,
I
and
like that.
that is amazing.
Yeah,
I do the same thing, right? Hard. I got to go at 2:30. I got to
yeah.
go no matter what, and I will leave. Okay, moving on. Why a meeting? Do meetings exist to justify managers' jobs rather than help employees?
Well, I think yes.
I think yes.
I think most of it's ego.
I do too.
It's
I
like
think,
lack
yeah,
of trust of the team. I think.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think I'm
I
not
need
saying
to be
all meetings,
heard.
right? I need to be heard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I need to be heard. And I would love to hear from some managers out there that call meetings because I can tell you, I never call a meeting. It's really rare that I ever call a meeting. Do you call meetings?
Rare. Yeah,
Like it's
rare.
rare.
I mostly cancel meetings. Yeah. Mm.
I
So
mostly
just as
cancel
a
meetings.
reminder, the link for the show up in the chat. So if you want to go there, you can. If you've missed the link, there's the QR code,
Yeah.
and you can participate in the conversation. Why a meeting? Do meetings exist to justify the manager's job rather than to help employees?
And that's kind of what you were talking about in the first slide, right? You were like, okay, just a second here. I think that managers, supervisors,
Mm.
leaders call a meeting to give themselves a little bit of clout.
Look at this.
If
Oh my
meetings
God.
disappeared overnight, Sam managers have nothing left to do.
And it's
Absolutely.
true.
Absolutely. My whole life force is in meetings.
Yeah.
That's what I do now. I do meetings. I don't call them. I
I think
attend
your life
them.
force is energy. It's not meetings.
Well,
I think that's ego.
for sure. For sure. Yeah.
There's a
Probably.
bit of ego there. Like if the meeting, like just look at that comment. If the meetings disappeared, how would you feel?
Well, what would I do?
You'd be Shelley.
But if yeah,
You'd said
I would
you'd work
question
on
what I
you
would
would
do.
work on look, well, you work on other things. You'd go back to
I
your skill set.
I would definitely, and that's what I'm actually doing now.
So
So
you'd work on like
I
when
definitely
I went
would.
through this, like when you after
I
you became
know.
CEO, I said, "Oh, I have nothing to do now." Well, no, okay, I have to work on something. I have to
Yeah.
do something, and
Yeah.
you know what? You do. You go back to what am I good at doing, and you
Yeah.
focus on that.
Well, we do. We actually do something else, right? We do something else. We rediscover ourselves, kind of thing. And that's exactly what would happen to me. I would
Yeah.
just rediscover myself in another avenue to bring more revenue to Dovico
You would start working on the business instead of working in
in
the
the business.
business.
Yeah,
Yeah. If you
agreed.
start trusting your team, the job to me of a leader is to like build a team so that there's no I'm not saying there's never any meetings, that you have a trust going on, that like the machine is rolling.
Yeah,
So trust is going on. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes, I do. Okay, cool.
yeah,
And you go, these meetings are fast. And then so you're free to work on the business,
yes,
on the strategies, on the
yes,
bigger pictures, right?
yeah.
And that's very rewarding, but it's also very uncomfortable because it's very comfortable to be yelling at people and say, do this and do that,
Oh, we don't do
right? Making decisions. You don't do that. It's
that.
very, that's where people get to.
Yeah.
Like they say, oh, they're not doing their job. I got to get there to make sure that they do their job.
Yep.
It's very it's a
It's so
self-inflicting,
self-fulfilling. It
yeah,
truly, yeah,
it's a
it
suck,
truly
it's
is.
self-inflicting.
I often wonder this. The ones that want the most meetings aren't the ones doing the work. For
Mm-mm.
manager is meeting their way to feeling it's their
So
contribution.
true.
It's
I'm
true.
gonna
It's
like
true.
that.
I feel like it's my contribution, right? I feel like, and I do. I feel like the direction of where the software is going. Are we staying on track? Right. I do. I have to work on that. Since I become part of management, I feel like I contracted some virus and I don't have the same interaction with my coworkers as I once did. Meetings are sometimes the only time I get to connect. And that is true. There is a real icky feeling out there with leaders, and it's because the leaders that you had in your past weren't great leaders. So everybody who has the title of being a leader tends to get ostracized ever so slightly. The fear is real.
Well, as a manager, you have a lot of power. So like people will be very scared to share.
Hmm.
And then you have you have shared to, this is why we built this software.
It's
We built this
exactly.
software because what happens is if you're a manager and you don't know what people are thinking like this anonymously, like no matter where you are, there is like you cannot argue that there's not a barrier between you, the leader, and the employee. There is a barrier
There's a barrier.
because they see you as a possible threat. And so
Yeah.
this like, but the one thing that you'll read in all the books, like Simon Sinek, they always say that nothing moves faster than trust. Nothing moves faster than getting the truth. Because if you don't know the truth, you can't make decisions.
Yeah.
So how do you know that? Well, you have to build trust. You have to build trust and you have to build a conversation. And it's a practice.
Yeah.
And so, yes, that happens. You will, as soon as you become a manager, and you saw it when you became a
Oh,
CEO,
terrible.
people used to go to you and complain about me or tell you the stuff that they
Yeah.
didn't want to tell me. Now they go to other people. And that happens because there's a kind of a barrier there. And that's why we built this software so that people can tell us. And then our job after that was to say, okay, maybe they're right. Right.
Yeah, anybody can bring this tool to a meeting,
Yeah.
right? There's no top-down approach to
No.
this tool. It's everybody, we're all the same. As you can see, everybody's posting here anonymously. You have no idea if it's a leader or if it's not a leader, but we get to have the deep discussion, right? We get to say, man, since I felt like since I've been in management, since I've been a leader, it feels like my team has turned their back on me,
Absolutely.
or
Yeah.
they won't invest or come talk to me, kind of thing. So
Like if you're looking at a toxic environment, it's like when a boss is always talking down to you
yeah,
and is not listening. Then the meetings will get longer because like it's just there to get for them to get heard.
yeah,
And you'll get this like, okay, I don't want to attend this meeting anymore. Yeah. You'll get this
yeah.
feeling of, well, I've heard this before. This is not relevant. You'll get that feeling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we've talked about, talking in loops, right? Saying the same thing over and over again
Absolutely.
in a meeting. We certainly don't want that. That just wastes time. Meetings can help us keep on contact and connect. So maybe we need a better way to connect. We absolutely do. And we all have one of these camera phone
Yeah.
things. And the
Call it phones.
the least app, or the app that's least used on this thing is a telephone.
Oh,
So you pick up the phone, have a conversation if you want to connect, and it's up to us to go and connect because we are the threat.
true.
Remember, remember the bad boss you had 10 years ago,
Hmm.
right? Those thoughts, that story is still within you
It's true.
until you start having a deep discussion with your new leader, with your new boss, with the new manager. Um, you won't change that.
It's true.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Oh, shoot. Let me go back. When they're too long, I feel it's not good.
Yeah.
Yep, agreed. Remote meetings. Are remote meetings more efficient? So, just quickly, let's just run through these remote meetings. So, we all kind of dealt with this pandemic in 2020, March of 2020. I became CEO a week before that actually happened. And we all went home.
Mm.
And how were we ever going to look at each other? How we were going to see each other? How were we going to actually connect? Um, and I never thought that I was going to be able to do it. They talked about Zoom fatigue. Now, here at Dovico, because we sell to 80 different countries, we have been doing online meetings and online selling
For a long time.
forever, right?
Yeah.
This is how we always have done it. So, way back in the day, these tools were not common as they are today. And we just learned to do it.
I think they can be more efficient, but what I hear a lot in the workplace, not at
Hmm.
Dovico, well, sometimes at Dovico, is there's too many meetings. So like it's
Yeah.
Zoom calls one after the other.
Yeah.
So because it's so easy now to make a Zoom call, it's so easy to have like with the phones and technology, it's so easy to have a meeting. You just call them up and then so you invite everybody that you don't that may or may not need to be. And I think it's again being very cautious about the rules applied where you're in the office or not.
Yep.
Remote meetings can be very productive, but they can be very disruptive because it's so easy to have a meeting. Let's
Absolutely.
invite everybody.
Yeah.
Well, then you as a participant have to ask the question, and it's the same thing for when you were in the office. Hey, do I need to be there? Do I have FOMO? Is this relevant to me? Do I know what I have to do? Right?
Absolutely.
And you as the boss or the caller of the meeting, you have to be responsible and say, "Well, oh, I'm going to invite the people that needs to be there." Yeah, same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. I think that convenience is
Mhm.
true. They're definitely less
Cheap
expensive.
for sure.
And this person, I don't believe they are,
Mm.
I don't believe they're more efficient. Maybe,
Well, I
but
think that's what they're saying is like you don't see the person face to face. And there is a lot of data about that, that if you're like if you're meeting a person face to face, it's because we speak in words, right? But there's a lot of unspoken
a lot of
energy,
body
right? A
language,
lot
a
of that.
lot of body language we no longer get,
Right. And
right?
we're
And
missing that as
some
humans.
some of us
Yeah.
are missing that as humans.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and the word here is efficient.
Mm.
Right. So I personally think that remote meetings are super efficient. People have to raise their hand to speak. There's a
There's
whole
certain
lot
control
less,
there.
there's
Yeah.
a whole lot less people speaking over people, you
Yeah.
know?
So maybe better.
So yeah, I think that they personally, maybe, but only if everyone's actually engaged instead of multitasking or mysteriously losing connection. Okay. So that
Driving under
judgy,
in the tunnel.
judgy.
I'm going in a tunnel. You guys ever use that music? I'm going in a
I'm
tunnel.
going. Oh, I have.
Me too. Going in a
Yeah,
tunnel.
absolutely. Sorry, I can't hear you. Interesting enough. If this is happening to you, it's peace out. Right? I'm
Yeah.
out. Right?
If you're not engaged, just like
You do not
be
have to pretend you
responsible.
are
No.
losing connection. I love that
Yeah.
mysteriously losing connection. You're allowed to
That's a good
say,
comment. I like
"Yeah,
that.
that is a
Beautiful. Yeah.
massive, yeah, an amazing
This
comment."
is so
Yeah,
true though. Like
I
we
love
get
it.
this.
That's fire, fire. It helps if you want to hire outside the province.
True.
It
Yeah.
absolutely does. There are so many great things. Like I said, Dovico would not be selling
Mhm.
into, all the countries that we do if we didn't have a way to do this.
And it helps you reach. And it's to me, like yes, there are, it's better if you're one face to face, that's for sure. However, it gives so much power to the person who's working. You can work from like I love that. That's why we did it at Dovico. I've been working remotely forever. I will never go back to an office. Like I know we have an office, but I will never go back to working in an office.
Not full
I want to
time.
work on the beach, like digging clams and
Yeah,
doing a Zoom
yeah.
call. call.
That
That's what I want
that's
to do.
over. That part is
Yeah.
completely and totally over. My
Right.
dog
Oh
ate my
my God, that's
internet
so good.
cable.
We could do a whole
Yeah.
session on this. I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
that.
yeah. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Meeting fatigue.
Mm.
A Microsoft study found that the number of meetings has increased to 252%
Wow.
since the shift to remote work. Also, a survey found that 70% of employees feel their meetings are unproductive and prevent them from getting work
I
done.
totally agree.
Can
Yeah.
you say no if you're invited to a meeting?
Well, I can, but it took me a lot of practice to do that. And I'm
Yeah,
also the owner, so it's a little easier for me to say no. But I also, I just started saying no to things.
you have.
And if the energy is not right, I'm just not going. And
You
I,
would break yourself to get to a meeting because you
before
promised somebody. Yeah,
I would
yeah,
always say
yeah,
yes. But now I'll say, you know what? No, I'm good. And even if I have nothing to do, and I did that just recently, I said, no, I'm good. But like, you're not doing anything. No, I'm good by myself,
yeah,
right? I'm okay, right? I'm good by myself.
yeah.
And I was with my sisters, and they laughed. They laughed at me when I said that. It's solely good, and I think that stat is true.
Well, it is.
But
Like you
what,
said, it's too easy. It's
but
too easy to
what do we
call
got
a
to do?
meeting.
To me, it's a practice of saying no. So that's why we have a statement at Dovico that no is a complete sentence. You don't have to explain yourself. You
Yeah,
don't have to, like, everything that comes after the no is a lie anyway. You don't want to go. You don't want
yeah.
to don't want to go. You want to work, get more productive. Yeah.
It's funny. I've heard this a couple times. Yes, I do it often, especially if someone I really don't have the energy for is
I love
there.
that.
So I've heard
Yeah.
this. This is a couple times I've heard this.
Mhm.
Um,
Really?
you know,
You mean like that people don't go to a meeting because
because there's somebody there that
energy is everything.
has, yeah, the energy is not
Negative.
good.
Yeah.
I would ask you to have the meeting with the person. I know it's uncomfortable,
Mm.
but if you work with somebody that takes away the energy that you really need to focus on your day, or that person has that much control over you that they can uh take your energy away or remove your inspiration for that day. I mean, that is a huge
It is a
comment.
huge comment.
That's a
Yeah.
huge comment.
Look at this one. Holy.
I can, but I dread the passive aggressive
So
follow-up
true.
email asking why I missed the discussion.
I would say be honest. Like the person
Yeah.
like is a squirrel. It's not relevant. There's no agenda.
Yeah.
The energy's not there. It's always negative. Like, just be honest with why you're not going.
Most definitely. And deal with the passive aggressive follow-up email.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you say, be truthful. Being truthful will help you oh so much in this type of thing.
I've left I left companies, right, that are like that was like that passive aggressive. Like, you know what? I don't need to explain to you why I'm turning off my phone. And if you need that, like,
Yeah.
no, thank you. Again, I'm the owner, I'm the boss. I can do that, but I don't explain. I don't even explain to I don't do that.
When we don't ask anybody here to do that either. You don't have to say why you didn't make the meeting. But
I
if you're not going there because you have the energy issue, you've got to
you,
deal with it
you
face
have to,
on.
like, I practice this like every single morning. I wake up, I go out, I have my coffee, and I journal. That I do that every single morning. And at the beginning, my wife was saying, why aren't you having breakfast here? Why aren't you having coffee with me? Why, like, and
Yep.
her mother kind of chimed in. And I had to say, there's no reason. This is what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
I never answered the question because it was a bit like kind of passive aggressive in a way. But she was just asking a question, why are you kind of escaping? It's just my time. Now she says, oh, you because I come back, right?
Of
Full of
course.
energy and full of life and full of,
Yeah.
okay, I'm happy to be here because I gave myself something. And
Yeah.
so you have to be aware that when you give yourself, you pay yourself first. When you pay yourself first and you do the work first for you that you need to do, well, then you'll be a better person, and then the energy will be better.
Yeah.
And then that's the bigger game. So I know it's hard. I understand it's difficult. I'm not saying it's not, but it's a practice to say no. It's a practice to pay yourself first. Like, I used to wake up earlier so I can go home earlier. So I would wake up 6 o'clock, 6 a.m., pay myself first. And then the rest of the day, if I had too many meetings, I didn't really care because I did all my work, right?
Nice.
And then I would say, okay, time to go home,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, I love these type of questions because I often say to people, like, when I've heard this before, and I said to the person, can you consider that they were simply worried? Does it have to be? Did you put it in your mind that it was passive aggressive, or you're always at that meeting, so the person's reaching out just to say,
Could be.
oh,
Yeah, you're making something up.
can
Yeah,
you consider it's not about
you're just wondering why you're
yeah,
not there.
they're just wondering. Yeah, can you let that thought
It's
go?
true, so true. That's a
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah, I don't want to attend a meeting. I find a way to provide what they are looking for from me another way. I yes.
I like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
After lots of practice and support, I can leave early when I recognize I'm not present
Well, it's
anymore.
good. Good job.
That is,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
amazing, amazing. I get stressed about going to meetings that I
Mm,
know will add more tasks to my already loaded workload.
that's true.
Now, it is true. It absolutely is true. But can you not say at the top of the meeting, I am, guys, I am absolutely swamped. There's nothing more I can take on. If you don't mind, I'm gonna head her because I got a ton of work to do.
That's hard though.
It's
Again,
it is.
that's a relationship building.
I'm asking, can you consider? Can
And
you
that,
simply consider it?
so to me, if you're doing that, you should address this with your boss one on one. Say, okay, I'm overworked. I'm not going to go to the meeting because I'm overworked. I can't
Yeah.
take on more.
I'm gonna take on the tasks that
Like
I
that's
have.
where you go to your supervisor and do that. And I think that's perfectly fine.
Most
Yeah.
definitely. Most definitely. Don't ask permission. Let them know.
They,
You are an
they've
adult.
they've given you the task of what's important. If they
Yeah.
say no, don't do that because it's not important anymore, because priorities change, then you can take stuff off your plate.
Yeah. If you're getting stressed about going to a meeting,
Hmm.
oh, sorry, I was supposed to be doing that. If you get stressed about going to a meeting, you have to speak up. Again, this is the tool
Hmm.
you can bring to that meeting
So you can have a
so
conversation
you can
about
have a
this.
conversation. It might be just, or you could put anything. I'm full of tasks. How about you guys? And allow the comments to flow.
I know it's not easy, but it's a
It's
practice.
it's a
Yeah.
place
And
to
it's
practice.
so important. If not, the stress will come up. And we all know what stress makes. Like it makes dis-ease at the end of the day. Like you're gonna
Yeah.
get so stressed that you're gonna get emotional and then you're gonna make a decision that's gonna be really hurtful
Most
for you.
definitely.
Yeah.
Make this your topic. I'm stressed about this meeting. I'm worried about having more tasks added
I would
to
love
my
to
workload.
I would love to deep dive in that.
We have to, but it's quarter after, 20 after.
Hi there.
Show Up really works well to discuss things like this. It
Absolutely.
absolutely does. So we are going to finalize. We're going to wrap this up. Oh, look at that. Um, we want to evaluate the importance. So here's a few things that you can evaluate the importance of deciding whether you should go to a meeting or not. Does this meeting directly impact my work or goals? Is this decision making meeting or just an update? Will I actively contribute or am I just a passive listener? I love this one.
Mm.
Is there an agenda or is this just a vague discussion?
Hmm.
If the answer is mostly no, consider skipping.
Yeah,
So just a few
so
tools.
what I've noticed at Dovico is a lot of people will say, I can't make the meeting because, and it could be something like I'm traveling, or I'm busy, or I'm sick,
Got a lot to
or I
do.
got a lot to do, or I'm not feeling up, I don't have the energy. I'll accept almost anything because I know they've asked, they said it, and they'll come back next time. I'm not really worried about it. So, having a conversation of trust is probably fundamental in any relationship, personally and at work. So being
Yeah.
able to say no, right?
Yep.
And being honest about it, then, better to have the conversation before than after, I would say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If your energy is being drained in meetings,
And I'll go.
have a deep discussion on it.
Yeah.
If one person is draining you, don't let that happen
Yeah.
because you know what? That one person will show up everywhere in your life until
Yeah.
you actually deal with it. So allow yourself to be so um, into you. Allow yourself to be so preserving of your energy, of your time, and just be the leader of you.
Consider you want to be around people that are open to the possibility of change, right? So if you're having a conversation with someone and you say, "Hey, the meeting has no agenda, so I'm going to skip it because it has no agenda," I'm pretty sure the person is going to make an agenda next time.
Uh,
So like most
yeah,
like I wouldn't say all people, but a lot of people would say, okay, well we'll just create more agenda. Or if you say, listen, all the meetings are like you talking all the time, I don't get much out of it. Consider that they may actually tell you that. They may actually change. Now this is why we built this tool
yeah,
because it's hard to tell that to your supervisor.
yeah,
So we encourage having a discussion like this one about meetings to your team. And all of this stuff will pop up. And then it becomes easier because it becomes like, okay, this is acceptable in my job because you had a conversation about a
yeah.
conversation about meetings. Yeah.
It's it. It's it. So I definitely see that the more senior staff talk the most in meetings.
Me too.
It may be unavoidable since the experience does have some weight, but is there a way to give a bit more space and accountability for everyone on the team? Absolutely. There is definitely a
Well,
way.
that's why we built
This
this.
is this is a way because sometimes it's difficult for you to say, "Hey, boss, I really want to speak up. I really have something to say." So this way, your boss is part of this and has we have absolutely no idea who's speaking
So,
up.
so my what happened to me when I started to use this tool, let's say I'm not organizing the meeting and I'm still a senior manager, I go there, I'll use this tool, and if nobody likes it or nobody hearts it, then maybe my point was already said 15 times in prior meetings.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't relevant, but there's an awareness that okay, I was heard, people saw it, the organizer read it,
Yeah.
it may not be important to this meeting at this time. So there is a leveling of the discussion and it goes
Yeah.
faster, I think.
Oh, it absolutely does. Like this, like I say, there's no hierarchy to this tool. It doesn't matter if you just started last week. If there's something on your mind and you are having a difficult time discussing it, you just say to your team, "Hey, I'm going to bring this tool. It's 30 days free. You can get it online, showup.io, and bring the discussion to your team. You will actually see as your leader even participates in it that you're probably not the only one feeling this way.
So, and the reason we're doing it live with you guys, which is, I don't think anybody else is doing this in the world, by the way.
I don't think
The
so.
reason we're doing this live is to bring an anonymity. So, like, just grab the feeling that you're having right now and put in a comment there and for the live for everyone to see.
Yeah,
You'll see the feeling of freedom that it gives you,
that's right.
right? And it really so whereas if you're putting something in a chat, well, your name may pop. So what people have done is they say, well, I'm not going to use my real name. I'm going to use a different name to hide. Well, why not just accept that basically your comment has an energy to it and it may not be correct or it may be correct and it's independent of who you are as a person,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
There's no hierarchy here, there's no class here, there's no race, there's no religion, there's no nothing.
No, nothing.
It's just a comment. Yeah.
It is, and you'll find out where your team is at. You'll be able to align so much easier with your team. You will be able to help one another through some of this. So, I would love to hear in your comments on Facebook Live or hear the fact that or what you would like to hear about next week. We want to continue to share here on Show Up and on Facebook and the rest of the socials, but we want to really know what's important to you. Is there a topic that's going on at work right now that you're just unable to resolve and you can't get it out of your thoughts? That's what we want to talk about. We want to get deeper into it. Let's deep dive and find out if we can help you out here. So, this is it. We have really discussed it thoroughly. So meetings, I think we're it's a wrap.
Yes.
It is a
Wrap.
wrap. All right. I'm Shelley Butler,
I'm Eve Doucette.
and this has been Mindset Monday. Thank you so much for joining us and having this beautiful discussion with us. I love you. Get your workout in. And how are you showing up?
Share.